Today I am going to take a lecture on empowering practices and settings of community psychology. After I finish my lecture, you will be able to know about empowering practices, learn about empowering and empowered settings. You will also understand the effect of empowerment, evaluate the principles of family support, and finally analyze the need to empower the community members. Let me give you an introduction. Empowering practices and services of a community requires individuals in the community, along with the professionals and paraprofessionals, their resources to bring about a change in the community. It involves the necessary tools for assessing the situation and making changes in the community setting by empowering the members of the community. These empowered members help each other to deal with the community issues. Community empowerment consists of two concepts: community and empowerment. Communities are groups of people that may or may not be spatially connected, but who share common interests, concerns, or identities. Communities may be local, they may be national, international, or even global in nature, and may have either specific or broad interests. Empowerment, in the broadest sense, is the process by which disadvantaged people work together to increase control over events that determine their lives. The most definitions of empowerment can give the term a positive value, which means that it improves people's circumstances, and embody the notion that it must come from within an individual or group and cannot be given to an individual or group. Community empowerment includes personal, which is the psychological empowerment, organizational empowerment, and broader social and political actions. Now, community empowerment is therefore both an individual and a group phenomenon. The conceptual roots of community empowerment come primarily from international development work. Poor communities needed to become more powerful. The women's health movement, which challenged the prerogative of others to define women's health concerns and remedies, and community mental health activists who stressed that people with mental disease deserved similar rights to others and ought to be treated empowering rather than controlling ways. Community empowerment is most consistently viewed as a process in the literature, something used to accomplish a particular goal or objective. For example, a social action process that promotes participation of people, organizations, and communities towards the goal of increased individual and community control, political efficacy, improved quality of life, and social justice. However, it can also be viewed as an outcome in which empowerment is the goal or objective itself and is specific to the individual, group, or the community involved. Now, the outcomes of community empowerment can have a very long time frame, often taking several years to begin to show results. This should be an important consideration for the design of health promotion programs. Let me talk to you about community empowerment as a 5-point continuum. Community empowerment as a 5-point continuum is comprised of the following elements: 1. Personal action. 2. The development of small interest groups. 3. Community organizations. 4. Partnerships. And 5th, social and political action. The continuum offers a simple linear interpretation of what is a dynamic and complex concept and articulates the various levels of empowerment from personal to organizational through collective, that is the community action. Each point on the continuum can be viewed as an outcome in itself, as well as a progress unto the next point. If not achieved, the outcome is a stasis or even a move back to the preceding point of the continuum. Now, the continuum has been used by health promotion practitioners to explain how community empowerment can be potentially maximized to close the implementation gap as people progress from individuals to collective action. Let's talk about empowering individuals for personal action. The process of community empowerment can begin when persons experience a high degree of relative powerlessness that triggers an emotional response and a personal action. Then, by participating in small interest groups, individual community members are better able to define, analyze, and act on issues of concern. In everyday life, a personal action and subsequent participation in a small group could be triggered by a road traffic accident and the involvement of a local action group for road safety. In health promotion, the basis for personal action and participation is often developed during the planning phase of a program through an identification of needs. It is important that programs use approaches to build a structure as well as a personal way forward towards collective action. If practitioners only focus on the individual, they risk making personal the issue. And if they focus only on the structural issues, they run the risk of neglecting the immediate needs of many people. The next topic is the development of small interest groups. The development of small groups by concerned individuals is the start of collective action. This provides an opportunity for a health promoter to assist individuals to gain skills and is a means of developing stronger social support systems and opportunity networks, interpersonal connectedness, and social cohesion. The role of a practitioner at this point of the continuum is to bring people together in small groups around issues which they do feel are very important to their lives in a manner that is not too controlling. These include self-help groups organized around a specific problem such as bereavement, support groups, Alcoholics Anonymous. Members usually have a shared knowledge and interest in any problem, are participatory and supportive, and often set up and managed by the participants. Community health groups, which usually come together to campaign on a specific issue such as environmental pollution or transport needs of socially excluded groups such as the aged, people are motivated to come together either for reactive or proactive reasons, usually for short-term periods of time, and community development health projects such as neighborhood-based projects set up to address issues of local concern such as poor housing, and with government support and a paid community health worker. It is through the support of small groups that many people find a voice and are able to participate in a more formal way to achieve the community empowerment outcomes. However, the membership of small groups is not homogeneous, and the conflict regarding internal issues does arise, especially during the shift from an inward, that is the self-help, to an outward, which is the social action orientation. Problem assessment can help to resolve conflicts and build capacity when the identification of problems, the solutions to the problems, and actions to resolve the problems are carried out by the community. When these skills do not exist or are weak, the role of a practitioner will be to assist the community to make an assessment of its own problems. Next is, once the issues have been identified, it is the role of the practitioner to help the community to develop a strategy to rank them and then to begin to analyze the prioritized issues. Let me talk about the development of community organizations. While small groups generally focus inwards on the needs of its immediate members, community organizations focus outwards to the broader environment that creates those needs in the first place, or offers the means, which could be the resources or opportunities, to resolving them. Community organization structure include faith and youth groups, community councils, cooperatives and associations. These are the organizational elements in which people come together in order to socialize and also to address their concerns. Community organizations are not only larger than small interest groups, but they have a better established structure, more functional leadership, and the ability to organize their members to mobilize resources. Community organizations are a crucial step for small groups to be able to make the transition to partnerships and later to social and political action. Importantly, individuals can become more critically aware of the broader issues in community organizations, in addition to learning the skills for assessing their immediate problems. Strategies to develop skills in raising awareness about the broader social and political issues that influence the determinants of health are based on the work of educationist Paulo Freire. An understanding of the underlying causes of powerlessness is a defining characteristic of empowerment, and practical approaches to develop this skill in health promotion includes photo voice. The development of community organizations and strong local leadership are closely connected. The problem of selecting appropriate leadership is discussed by Goodman in 1998, who argued that a pluralistic approach in the community, one where there is an interplay between the positional leaders, those who have been elected or appointed, and the reputational leaders, those who have informally served the community, has a better chance of leading to community capacity. The next topic is that of partnerships. To be effective in influencing higher level policy decision making, community organizations need to link with other groups sharing similar concerns. Community organizations, by forming partnerships, can strengthen social networks, better compete for limited resources, and increase participation in the concerns of other member organizations. The purpose of partnerships is to allow community organizations to grow beyond their own local concerns and to take a stronger position on broader issues through networking and advocacy. The key empowerment issue is to remain focused on a shared concern that brings the groups together and not on the individual needs or issues of the different groups in the partnership. The next topic is that of social and political action. While individuals are able to influence the direction and implementation of a program through their inputs and active participation, this alone does not constitute the community empowerment. The difference between participatory and empowerment approaches lies in the agenda and the purpose of the process. If concerned individuals remained at small group level, the conditions leading to their powerlessness would not be resolved. If people only engage in mainstream forms of lobbying through community organizations and partnership development without political action. Those with power above economic and political decisions would have little reasons to listen. Now, individuals progress along the continuum from a position of personal action to a point where they are collectively involved with redressing the deeper underlying causes of their concern through social and political action. Gaining power to influence economic, political, social, and ideological change will inevitably involve the community in struggle with those already holding power. Within a program context, the role of health promoting agency at the request of the community is to build capacity, provide resources, and help others to empower themselves. Let me give you the case of Community Empowerment in Action, which is the Self-Employed Women's Association, more famously known as SEWA. SEWA is a trade union of nearly 1 million self-employed women in Gujarat, India. Like most self-employed vegetable vendors, cart pullers, embroidery workers, these women would live in a poor condition and practice their trade in vulnerable conditions. Frequently harassed by local authorities with no insurance or any other kind of social security, and they're forced to take loans at exploitative rates, these women got organized to increase control over their lives. Vegetable sellers and growers linked together to start their own vegetable shop, cutting out the exploitative middleman to mutual gain. Now, these SEWA women started their own bank and solved the problem of access to credit, avoiding the huge interest rates demanded by private loan agents. Collectively organized health insurance is used to pay for health costs, which earlier used to